taking place, no matter what the era is, I mean, during our time, did we feel that, we didn't get a good, fair go? In some times, yes, and sometimes no. But then coming back again, we just took the decision for what it was and just continued. I mean, we didn't sit back and worry too much about it. And I mean, you would never hear of somebody not turning up to play for Sri Lanka because the captaincy wasn't his or something like that. It was so emotional and such a pleasure just to play. Whether it was the game of touch rugby or whether it's the game of six-a-side cricket or whether it was for CRNFC or for Sri Lanka or whatever, the passion was great, And I think that's the difference now. I am not saying that the guys today don't have enough passion. No, they're short of passion. But certainly money has kind of changed attitudes. It's changed the way people look at sport and approach it. And it's sad. And also the situation is that the authorities today, I really don't think manage the issue in the way they should. Whether there was favorites, I mean, it's like this. If you and I have checked aside, I'm sure there would be issues. Right? In the same way, when 4 or 5 people sit down to select, the difference is very, very thin. Someone gets the opportunity, and I mean, that's my case. I mean, I was competing with Ashanti Tilakaratne and Asanka Gurusingh, okay, and we all scored runs, right? But I mean, I don't think anyone's going to feel that I was shortchanged because I mean those two guys are great cricketers and they're world class, So I'm just giving you one of example. In the same way, take Sumanthi Warnakulusuri for instance, and teammate at CCC. I mean, he scored 1,000 runs in a Sarar season in 10 games. He got 176 not out against India in a 3-day game. Never got a chance for Sri Lanka. So yes, it happens all the time, but I think you've got to get on with it and make the best out of it. The only difference now, again coming back to what I said previously, is that now you have more chances, and as you very correctly said, the media, and a lot of other issues, play in how things are done.
Well, Mr. Reddy, you stated that the money has changed the attitude, to which we have to agree, because the money component in sports have basically broken the player loyalties to a particular club or a particular organization, and that they are always in the lookout for better money, which is not wrong, because there was a time, there was a huge hue and cry of making Sri Lankan sports at least semi-professional. So in this context, how would you see that we can strike a balance between the sponsorship, money, professionalism, as well as ethics in sports?
I think firstly we must understand that a sportsman, especially if he is really talented, will have an attitude. He'll have, a certain air about himself that is not easy to manage. And what's really happening is that people that we are putting through the system to manage and to select and to do things do not have the respect of the players. That's a big problem. And then the money issue comes in to play, because I really do believe that no matter what, if you're a really good sportsman, you're more passionate about the game than the money. And the reason that the money is an issue is that we are putting people in charge of sport with the sort of the caliber of people that we are putting in charge. They just can't command the respect. That's the problem. So very thought-provoking, Mr. Reddy. So what he opines is that when you put people in control of certain sports, certain organizations, that those people should be able to earn the respect of his subordinates and the people who are set to follow him. So with that, now we will take a short break. I'll be right back on the other side. My guest this evening is Mr. Asanga Senuratne, CEO of Asia Capital
group of companies. And we were talking about his sports career, the beginning, and some of his thoughts on the modern day sports and the standards prevalent. Now Asanka Senimiratne, as he realized that he wanted to pursue in the corporate career, in the corporate world, he decided not to continue as a player, but focus more on his occupation, on his job. So let us get into how he started his business, how he get into the corporate world.
Well, in 91 I returned to Sri Lanka after playing a season in Australia. It was my fourth season in Australia and I didn't want to go back. And at that time the stock market had just been open to foreigners, and that was the big change for our stock exchange. Our stock exchange is over 100 years old, and this was a new beginning for us in 1990. And in 91 I joined Forbes and Walker. I was offered a job by Mr. Crisanta Pereira, who was the director at that time, a royalist and a gentleman. And I started off at Forbes, and then I joined Asia Securities at that time, which was a very, very small stockbroking company. It was the 10th broker license issued, and it was started by Rusi Captain, childhood friend of mine from table tennis days, and Dirk Flem Caldera. And with me, Viren Pereira and Thilan Vijayasinghe joined Asia Securities as well. And then after 3 years of stockbroking, we formed Asia Capital and pursued investment banking and corporate finance and treasury activity, bond trading, and the whole gamut of merchant banking. So that was my beginning in the corporate world, really.
Well, now in the way back in early 90s, that was the time that the Sri Lankan stock market was grabbing the attention from the international investors, from the outside world. And today we see a huge improvement, a paradigm shift to what it was and where it is today. I mean, it has been even rated by the Bloomberg as the second best performing stock market. So what my question is, what are the infrastructure developments that you see which have brought in a tangible difference in the way which the stock market is operating?
I think the single most tangible difference would be automated trading, and then online trading, which made it possible for what's happening today. We could have 10-20,000 trades taking place instantly, and we have turnovers of over $1 billion a day now. I mean, at that time, you'd be very lucky if you did 10 million rupees worth of trading. But still, we are really small. We're very tiny, and I mean, we should really look at how we develop our capital markets. And I think it's time that the government really focused on how they're going to develop the capital markets. Although we are talking about the second best performing market in the world and so on and so forth, the potential is limitless. And I think we are at a new beginning. And if the government works towards really developing stock exchange and capital markets, we will be we will very soon be a developed country. I mean, if you take the countries in the region, Singapore, Malaysia, Thailand, all these countries, Maldives were way behind Sri Lanka 10-20 years ago. But we are still, where we started. One reason is the war, but the war isn't the only reason. Proper
lack of focus.
And also a clear vision for the capital markets is something that we have really not had.
Well, this is actually the flip side of the story, because the Colombo stock market, when I interview or when I talk to any person who is related to this industry, they always say that our stock market Colombo stock market is more than 100 years old. So which means, like, for any person who would believe, like, it's a very strong industry. But we haven't seen the stock market becoming attractive to the public. Especially the stock market is a tool where the small and medium-scale enterprises can acquire much-needed capital funds at low cost. So this has not happened, Mr. Silvaratne.
At zero cost.
At zero cost for the past 100 years or so. So what are the reasons for that? I mean, who is responsible for this situation?
I mean, I don't know who you've been talking to, but I mean, having a stock market with a 10 billion capitalization, 10 billion US dollars capitalization with 234 companies is not something that you should be proud of. I mean, we are a society that has, you know, been in existence for over 2,500 years. You know, I mean, we've had some of the most developed irrigation systems. We are one of the most educated people in the world. You know, I mean, we boast of a 90% literary rate, and you know, I mean, our stock market is tiny. It's really you know, I mean, it's really controlled by a few people, in the sense, I won't say few people, but a few elements, in the sense that, you know, if a big fund starts buying big, you know, the share moves up, you know, 10-20%, you know, I mean, that won't happen in a developed market, in a proper stock market. So